Yo, 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 and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji. With me is Patrick. How you doing, boy?
Doing well. Another year, and still a lot of confusion. So,
Yeah, I wonder if anyone can even guess which club we're even gonna talk about when you say confusion. You know, I think best thing to do is maybe rip the Band-Aid off. Let's do the fan introduction. Tell us your name, your Twitter handle, the club that you're representing tonight, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do.
so my name's Patrick. Twitter handle's official Shucks BL. I'm from America, from New Jersey, and then just moved to Texas to start working as a mechanical engineer. So graduated from college 2 months ago.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. It's been good. So I have a little more free time now that I'm just working and not doing all the school. So
Yeah. I can imagine. So, we're here to talk everything blue, eh? I wish we could have a very positive energy going into it, but I'm kind of tired of being a Chelsea fan, bro.
yeah, it's. I thought it was coming around, and then the rumors right now of signing. I think the guy's name is Samu, which just happened, and then also still going for Osimhen. This is probably one of my last straws. I wasn't really frustrated. I was able to kind of see a vision in a good couple of things, but signing two strikers when you already have one, and then Gui, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Gui, yes.
Oh no, Gui. Oh, you're talking about Mark Gui.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's really confusing.
yeah, it is. Don't worry, we're gonna unpack everything. But before we get started, listeners, welcome back to another Inside Trax series episode. We're here to talk everything Chelsea. So, just gonna give you the general breakdown of how these episodes go. We've got three main segments. The first segment is a bit of a general discussion. We're gonna talk about the impact of new manager versus old manager. Well, obviously that's relevant to Chelsea as always. Maybe some change in ownership, etc. And then we're gonna look back at Chelsea's previous season's performance, and then what the expectations are for the upcoming 24-25 campaign. Then we're going to look at the old system versus new system, and kind of discuss some of the transfers that they've had since last summer up to the current window. And then finally, we're going to try and guess the expected formation and starting 11. Then the second segment, we're obviously going to chat a bit of fan tracks. We'll pick Patrick's brain to see who his first pick from Chelsea is, his next few picks, which rounds he's going to take them in, at least one hidden gem and at least one trap asset. And then finally, in our last segment, we're going to find out how, Patrick makes trades, how he spends his fab, and some of the lessons learned over the seasons of playing fan tracks. So let's get started. I think the best place to start is a quick summary of what really happened last season. Pochettino came in, debut season. Frustrating at start. It was very, very slow, but then eventually started to pick up form, figure out what the hell he was actually doing with his players and his team and systems and tactics and all of that. Runners up in the EFL Cup, falling short to Liverpool. Semi-finals of the FA Cup, losing to Manchester City. And like we said at the back end of last season, we had only one loss in our final 15 league matches, which eventually got us a sixth place finish and securing an immediate return to European football for the next season. So Patrick, Pochettino, what went wrong, man?
I think the start of the season was just too much to come back for, because I'm seeing clips now of just preseason last season, and you see the 3-2-4-1 Cucurella inverted, and you wonder, where did that go for the first 3 months? How did that good formation that worked well at the end turn into Disasi at right back while Gusto's healthy, Colwell at left back, and Chilwell at left wing? So he did great towards the end of the season, and I was still probably 60-40 wanting him to stay, but I do agree long term you don't want a guy with his tactics, with all the pressing and running. You do want, I can see the vision with Maresca and the possession, but I just think that beginning of season, some of those decisions just can't be justified no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think one of the things, like at least negative things that stood out for me during the Pochettino era was I feel like, I don't know if the players didn't respect his authority, but seeing the players like fight like little kids over a fucking penalty was absolutely ridiculous.
I knew right when you were talking about that, I knew that was going to be what you were referred to. And it this week I did see Madueke go after one
Yeah,
again, and the manager said, "In Cuckoo, it's his," and when Palmer's back, they're all his. So it
exactly.
was a little
Yeah.
refreshing. I respect the what Madueke thinks of himself, but I think he needs to realize what he
Where
is.
his
So
place is.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, the Pochettino era came to an end. It's quite sad because, you know, it felt like we were really starting to play some really good attacking football. We finally found a system, a flow to everything. Yeah, and it's just painful to have to start all over again. And now enter Maresca Ball. After having recorded with the Leicester correspondent as well for the Inside Track series, I think we're going to require a bit of patience.
oh yeah, yes. I mean, if you've turned on the preseason games, I think you can see that, and it's definitely going to take time. The playing out of the back, the goalie, which we haven't even seen yet, but I hope to God Robert Sanchez doesn't stay in that.
Same, bro.
I feel so bad for Petrovic.
Yeah,
I thought
he
he
was
was
great.
great. I
Yeah,
I would have been perfectly fine
yeah,
starting the season with him as the number one. So
yeah. All right. I mean, like, on that note, why don't we just talk about some players in and out, right? So let's go back as far as last summer. So I know you had some strong opinions about Kai Havertz leaving. You were quite happy to see him finally leave, and you
mhm.
know you were I think kind of looking forward to seeing how he would be able to frustrate Arsenal as a centre forward, and we got the complete opposite of that.
I'd still say the first half of the season you got it, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I still
yeah,
don't think he wasn't wowing me. I mean, I think you throw Nick Jackson in that Arsenal team, he can do what Havertz did.
yeah,
But I'm still he's done well. I have still no regrets selling him.
yeah. Same.
It's just he wasn't a fit, and I don't see him. He's not scoring bangers. He's not creating. He's just been a solid squad player for a very good team at the time. So he just kind
Yeah.
of got in the right situation. So I guess good for him. But
Yeah. Very good point. N'Golo Kante left last summer as well. I mean, you and I both love him.
yeah,
What a great smile. Amongst other qualities that he has, I felt like the start of the season when Caicedo was still finding his feet, and we're gonna touch on him a bit later, but people were just making mistakes and you're looking rusty and nervous, and in my head I'm like, where's N'Golo? I miss N'Golo.
I mean, I was so happy to see him play for France, and
Yeah.
it more so just uproots the fact that Chelsea has a severe medical problem with, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's their staff. It can't be the
Mm,
past 5 coaches. So
yeah.
there's something wrong over there. So I'm glad that he got healthy. And I saw something that they may be putting up a banner or statue for him soon. So there was a tweet that was talking about how the Twitter peer pressure has actually helped out and they've fallen it. So I saw something that he's getting some sort of tributes.
Yeah, I mean, his first 2 games for France, he got back-to-back Man of the Match awards as well, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's just world
he's just
class.
class. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Exactly. So another out that I want to talk about that's within the Premier League, Mateo Kovacic went to Man City. I think we both know how good Kovacic is at, like, especially driving the ball, etc. I don't think that translated into Fantrax points for him at Man City, but listen, he still had a good season with them. Still won a title. Is there any sort of like, oh, I wish we kind of kept him?
No, it's a young team. There's no point in keeping him. I mean, when you're selling him, you're thinking you have Lavia healthy, you have Caicedo,
Mm.
Enzo, and all the rest of the Hugo Chonku and the bunch of guys. Gallagher was here last season, so it's just 30 million for him was a very fair price. I was honestly surprised it wasn't more like 20, but
Yeah.
I have no hard feelings about him leaving. I think it was just the right move for the both of us.
Yeah. Mason Mount going to Manchester United, having one of the worst times of his life. Bit of karma there? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to wish a guy gets injured, so I do feel
Of course.
bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know if non-Chelsea fans have seen the picture, but after Chelsea came back to win 4-3 against Man U, the picture of Enzo just screaming at Mount was just brings a
Yeah.
smile to your face.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
seeing,
Definitely.
especially after seeing the video of Mount's dad just saying, "This is home."
Yeah. Yeah, that was painful to watch, man. Definitely. I think one final out I want to touch on Callum Hudson-Odoi going to Nottingham Forest. Listen, he's had his injury issues. We know that. Hopefully, I mean, he's finally able to overcome it. But I think on the back end of last season, we saw why we were so interested in keeping him, right? Trying to keep Bayern Munich off of him, etc. He still looks a class player, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely lost a step, and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
realistically he wasn't making it back in. As I said, with our injury issues, he could have
Yeah.
gotten injured again. So it's a shame that we only got 3 or 5 million for him,
Yeah.
but happy for him. I was a little annoyed when he celebrated against us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that one was very annoying, but seeing them come back from that game, that was happy. That made me
Yeah.
happy to beat Forest 3-2 at the end of the season. But I mean, I have no qualms with him leaving.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, let's look at some ins then. Listen, I mean, we're kind of a bit of a running joke at the moment in the football community in terms of how many kids we're signing, how long these contracts are. So I'm gonna rattle off a few names or whatever, and tell me if there's any particular name that stands out to you that you're maybe excited for seasons coming, or maybe you're part of a dynasty league, etc. Right? Kendry Paez, Dijon Richards, Alex Matos, Diego Moreira, Samuel Smith, Angelo Gabriel. Who else is there? Ollie Harrison, David Washington. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. Did anyone stand out for you from there?
Kendry Paez, if you watched him with Ecuador with Caicedo, it's just he's their best player along with Caicedo at 17. Messi and him jersey swapped, but he has great potential. I see his every other week it's him scoring from 25 yards out, pops up on my Twitter, and he's just great. As long as him and Esteval, the Brazilian that's coming next summer also. So I think it'll be really interesting because Esteval's left-footed right winger, Paez is left-footed cam right winger, and then we have Palmer. So it'll be interesting, but those two guys, I think their potential is insane. I've been following Paez for probably about a year now, but Esteval kind of popped up on the scene. Didn't know him as much, but both of them I think will be very good and could play first team next year.
Okay. All right, let's focus on some senior players now. I mean, we've already touched on both Robert Sanchez and Petrovic. We know which one we prefer. So let's start with Axel Disasi. What did you think of his impact last season? Are you expecting anything next season?
He's just clunky. He had a couple really bad games, couple really good games. Played great against City.
Yep.
I mean, he has good personality to him. I don't think he's gonna ever be the first name on the team sheet, but it's fine as a backup. You also don't want to spend $45 million on a backup and force Trevor Chalobah out of the club. But
that one
that's
hurt, bro.
That's my biggest qualm with Disasi is he's just keeping Chalobah out, I'd say, and not because he deserves it.
No. I remember last time we recorded, I was like, you know what? Sometimes football clubs are run like a business, and that's the reality of it. I feel like I jinxed us in a sense. Like, now it feels like we're just purely a business, and the football is second priority, which is painful.
Yeah, I mean, they're claiming that it's the Premier League's fault for setting it up with being able to sell academy players for pure profit, but I mean, don't buy 20 guys for 10 million and you don't come into this problem.
Yeah, exactly. So next name I want to talk about or touch on really quickly, Romeo Lavia. He's been playing a lot of preseason football, but to me, I don't think he is like convincing me at the moment. Like, it just feels like he doesn't already have the pass mapped out in his head, like, you know, one touch sort of thing. Like, he's taking an extra touch. He's a bit slow in terms of the transition. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, it's still early days, right?
Did you see his assist the other night?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
So, I mean, from what I've seen and what I've heard, he's been one of the only bright spots from preseason.
I've heard that as well. Yeah.
He I don't know if he won a ball back. I think he won a ball back, took one touch, and put it 40 yards over the back line and straight to Madueke.
Yeah, so, I remember that one now. Yeah,
I mean, I think from what I've seen, I think he's been great. And I'll talk about when the lineup comes around, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's stick to the same position on the field. Moises Caicedo. Not the smoothest debut season. He made a lot of mistakes here and there. A lot of people were kind of mocking him because of that price tag, etc. But talk about a goal of the season last week.
Oh, well, got something for you. I went to Europe and I got to see that goal from the home season ticket holders stands and was able to watch him score that, and it was crazy. Yeah.
No way.
So
you were in London and you didn't say anything, bro. Come on.
I would have if I wasn't with my family. So
yeah. Did you enjoy London? Did you like Stamford Bridge?
It was wonderful. I've been for a tour 4 or 5 years ago, but I needed to see a game, and just right as he scored that, we were just flung back and forth. Everyone was going crazy. And then whenever he got the ball for the rest of the game, everyone was just cheering shoot, which was hilarious. But back to the topic, his second half of the season, I thought he was one of our best players, and he was great. I am not worried about how he'll do this season. I'm sure he'll do great. He can pass forward through the lines well, unlike another $100 million signing in London. So I think he's fine. Obviously, took some heat at the beginning of the season, which was deserved, but he'll be fine this season. He'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well touch on Enzo. I know he wasn't part of this window or whatever, but I still have faith in him. I don't know. I still think he can come good. I know there's a lot of obviously this is a very sensitive subject given like the the whole racist chants, etc., like that, but I mean, I just want to put the football aside in a sense, and I do think he does have good qualities. I mean, we saw those world-class moments, especially I think back to the cup game versus Villa when he scored that free kick as well, and I think made it 3-0, or it was the third goal that we scored or something like that. And I feel like he does have certain moments, and I don't know if it's one of those situations where he just needs the right manager to kind of bring out the best in him.
Yeah, I mean, just don't play him at Cam. That's it. I just don't get what Pochettino was doing there.
Yeah,
and he just needs to sit deep, and he'll be. I think his passing and vision. I remember from 2 years ago under Potter, you'd watch them lose every game, and he'd be the only bright spot. Yeah. Wasn't he playing with the hernia this season?
Yeah, so something like that, yeah.
He's got a lot of stick, and I remember from the instance you were saying, there were rumors of him wanting out. He scores a free kick, and then just runs to the camera holding up the badge and said something that along the lines of, I'm here, like I want to be here. So
yeah. He's
had a rough time. Only had there's a stat where he's only won like 4 or 5 Premier League games.
Yeah,
but it's not his fault. Yeah. I want to see him profiled correctly.
Yeah, definitely. Leslie Ugochukwu, I suspect he's just going to be a rotation piece next season.
Yeah, tall CDM, loves the yellow card, and he's all right. I mean, he's never going to be anything crazy, but he's fine. I think he was only 20 million, so it's one of the buys that's 20 million, and they bring him into the team. But I think he's going out on loan. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you know who else loves the yellow card that we tipped to be a hot prospect last season? Nicholas fucking Jackson.
Oh my god! I had him, and when he got his 10th yellow card, game week 37, I didn't know that rule ends after game week 35 where you don't get suspended. I thought he was going to be suspended for the finals for me.
Oh,
but he wasn't. He wasn't, thank God. There was a minute or two where I just said that's his 10th yellow, but that also attributes to the fact that Poch not having his players in line. I think 8 of them were for dissent. So
basically,
it was so annoying as a fantasy owner, and just as a Chelsea fan, just to see you just
it's just like. Snap out of it, like shut up, like just focus on the football.
And
what an enigma of a character, man. I mean, in terms of focusing on the football and the tactics, I was one of his biggest supporters, and yes, he would have been one of the most frustrating assets to watch in front of goal in terms of missing easy chances, big chances. But listen, what he did for our team, his ability to drive the ball forward, drag defensive lines as well, like
the hold up play.
He had a bit of everything, right? Obviously, he's not the final product. He's still very young. He's still raw, but I'm quite excited to see what he'll do in his second season.
Yeah, I think, his hold up play is great. It was he's solid on the ball. It's just the finishing is, especially watching at the end of the season and seeing him in person, there was no confidence. If you rewatch that last game 2 or 3 times, he had a shot open and just tried squaring it, bad pass. So I remember walking out of that and texting my fantasy chat, we need a striker.
Yeah.
So I will be fine with the striker we just bought if we don't buy another. Because if we just stick with, I want to see Jackson play, but I also can recognize that maybe he shouldn't be the main guy right now.
You say that, but then Maresca has come out and said that he sees Nico Jackson as the striker. He can play winger sometimes, but he sees Nico as a striker. So I don't know where that leaves us. Like,
I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine with him getting around 30, 32 starts. I just think it's good to have another. They definitely need to bring in another guy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and where did his form from preseason last season go? That
I
finishing sold
know. Yeah,
dreams. I remember
yeah,
coming on and I was like,
yeah,
at this point, I would take Jackson over in Cuckoo straight up,
yeah,
which
yeah,
ended up being right for the wrong reasons.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, still delivered, got us ghost points. I
yeah,
think if you still rostered him, I think when we were talking about it, I think like round 3, round 4, I think insane value
yeah, I
at that point, right?
got him
So
late round 4 last year and was happy.
there you go. I mean, speaking of Nkunku, genuinely, he has been the standout for me in preseason. Like I remember when I was watching preseason last time around, I got that same sort of vibe and feeling from Jackson. Now I'm getting that from Nkunku, and I'm actually quite excited to roster him in any league I can.
Yeah, I I would like to see him play one game on at left wing
Yeah.
because I think against City, Liverpool, Arsenal, you don't want him playing the 8.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into this when the positions come, but yes, I'm excited to
Definitely.
see
Yeah.
what he can bring, and he has looked great. Well, what's his position again?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Maresca said in an interview that he can play anywhere
Mm-hmm.
across the front three, right? Or like a 10 or whatever, and he labeled him the ideal player. So to me, that sounds like Nkunku's a main part of his plans, and he's probably gonna get more starts than the others. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how he kind of gets embedded into everything. So last name from this window, obviously we have to talk about Cole Palmer.
Oh well, so I'm gonna say this from the previous couple seasons. I was always still in the hunt in fantasy, so when I'd see him game week 37 or 38 for City start, I'd always roster him. So
Yeah.
last season, I see him have 2 good preseason games for City. Bernardo's maybe leaving, and I'm like, why don't I throw one fab on Cole Palmer?
Yeah.
I got him for one fab, and then he moves to Chelsea, and I was ecstatic. I was like, this guy is so good. Everyone's giving us crap. Why are you signing him for 40 mil?
Yeah.
And I've United and Liverpool fans arguing who's better, Soboslai or Mount, and then I just
Yeah.
chirp and just be like, Palmer's better, and they'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, we know you're not taking it seriously. 20, 20 weeks in, and it's just he's wonderful. I knew he was gonna be good. I didn't know he was gonna be anywhere near what he was, and I just love him.
Absolute game breaker. I mean, the guy started what? Only 27, 28 games last season? Oh, maybe 29. I know it's sub 30.
Yeah,
But ends up the second highest scoring asset overall. Like, it's absolutely mental. Like, obviously, having pens and everything, that kind of inflates everything. But I'm sorry, eye test as well. Like, this kid smashes everything. Got the assist in the semi-final for the Euros to send England to the final. Scores the only final goal for England. Like, what do you want, bro?
no, that final could not have gone more perfectly from a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
Seeing Palmer score, Cucurella with the assist to shut up Gary Neville,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was just all of England wanted to see him on the field, which you never would have thought 9 months ago that people would want to see Cole Palmer over Phil Foden and Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
Saka
Yeah.
played
Exactly.
left back for like 30 minutes one of the games, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, it was a pretty dreadful tournament, man. But anyways, let's move to the current summer window because nothing really happened in winter. There was like loans back and forth, like recall, sending them out, etc. So focusing on the current window, I just want to give a quick shout out to Thiago Silva, fucking legend at Chelsea Football Club.
Oh yeah, yeah. I also got to see his little send off ceremony. It was wonderful. Just the
Yeah,
whole stadium stayed, and just great guy. I'm so happy he's doing well. Three 3 clean sheets in his first 3 starts for Fluminense. Not positive, but
Fluminense, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, wish him nothing but the best, and he's already said he's coming back to coach. So looking forward to
Looking
that.
forward to that. Yeah. Okay. One other out that I want to touch on that I was kind of upset about because we were both high on this kid. Last time we recorded was Ian Matson.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another one that they had to do. It's I would have liked to see him try to get in the team, but it's another thing. Potts was playing him at Cam for a little last season,
Yeah.
so I would have been interested to give him a preseason and see how he could maybe invert.
Yeah.
But I'm still, unless he tears it up, I think it was just you kind of saw it coming. So
Yeah.
I'm not the most upset about it. I understand we need some big defenders, physical. So I hope he does well, but I hope he doesn't do too well.
All right. Let's look at the transfers in then. I mean, another youth player, Omari Kellerman. We mentioned Mark Gui. Who else is there? Caleb Wiley, I think, is another kid. So in terms of senior-ish players, okay, this Renato Veiga, I don't know if you saw a picture of him when he first got signed, but he basically looked like an AI-generated image.
I did not see that, but I mean, I've seen him since. I think he can be a decent squad player. I don't see him starting Premier League, but it seems like he can play a couple positions. Maybe. Yeah, and it seems like he's a little versatile. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll see him at left center back.
Yeah,
a little
maybe
bit.
A streamer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you to stream Chelsea defenders right now.
Yeah, that's true. Not after that, the way Man City ripped us apart, man. So, I mean, talking of the defense, Tosin Adora Bioyo, I'm actually quite happy with the signing.
I think it was finally just I mean, they broke their age, the age under 25 and signed this 26-year-old. I mean, it's Premier League proven, another thing they haven't done much, and it's a free signing. So I have no qualms. We'll see. I don't know if you can start, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Philip Jorgensen, the goalie that we mentioned, are we hoping that he's going to be number one?
I think it's almost 100% chance. The ball playing is the reason they brought him in. I haven't even watched him, but just from the
videos of him juggling the ball.
Yeah, but from just seeing what Robert Sanchez has done preseason with the ball playing hasn't been great. Shot stopping's been decent, but I just don't see Maresca going out, getting a goalie for 20 mil and benching him when we had Petrovic on the season he had. I almost would like to see him start week 1, sell Sanchez, and Petrovic still gets the backup time, but that's not going to happen. I think he'll start over 30 games.
Yeah. Okay. One final out. It's not confirmed, but it's pretty much confirmed. Conor Gallagher.
I mean, he's always been there for the club. I respect him.
Mm-hmm.
It just, he can't pass the ball forward. It was, it was a little, he was perfect for Poch's system, the running, and it was just, it's not the fit, especially that bringing in Dewsbury. Right when Dewsbury Hall came in, I knew Gallagher was out. I hope he does well with Atletico.
Yeah.
I did get a little annoyed about the situation of how he left because apparently he got offered a 2+1 year deal at $200K wages, which I would have been a little annoyed if they gave him $200K because that's a lot for him. He denied that. Apparently he denied a move to Aston Villa for over $50 million, which that obviously would have been a little suspicious with the financial fair play stuff. But I mean, he's probably Simeone's dream player right there. So.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I wonder if people are giving the the transfer a lot of shit because they're still holding on to this idea of what he was like at Crystal Palace. But he's not that player anymore.
I have not seen that many people upset about Gallagher. I've seen people more so upset about Chalobah, but I haven't seen I haven't seen many people that upset about Gallagher. It's more so just upset about the state of the academy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm still most upset about us losing Ruben Loftus-Cheek, right? But it is what it is. So, I mean, let's then discuss the final name, and then maybe we can touch on what we're expecting in terms of like the system and the formation and stuff. Kinnan Dewsbury Hall.
I mean, I think he's a very solid player. It's kind of funny because 2 or 3 years ago, when he popped up on the scene, he just seemed like one of those guys that was a bit of a joke player. I drafted him probably 7th or 8th round on his like first big season, and no one really took him serious. And he had a solid season, and then he just tore up the championship. I think he had 26 or 27 goals and assists.
Yeah,
and I'm really interested to see how much he fits in. I know he fits in, and seeing him in preseason, he's just light years ahead of everyone else with the Maresca's philosophy since he's been there for a year. Yeah. But I think he's a very solid player, and we'll see. I think the only reason he won't be playing is pressure from upper management to play the high price signings. But I still think he'll get plenty of playing time.
Fair. So what can you tell us about like Maresca's system? Like what have you learned so far, and like how do you see us operating moving forward?
So in possession, which is I'd say the most important part, it's a 3-2-4-1 playing with an inverted wing back. So should I try to explain? So that would be 2 number 6s, one of them coming from outside back, 2 number 8s in the center, 2 wingers and a striker.
Yeah.
Should I try explaining who's can play there now, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is all kind of going to mix together anyways, right? So definitely go for it. Yeah.
So we'll start off. I still don't even know his name. Is it Jorgensen or the goalie?
Yeah, Jorgensen. Yeah.
So long-term, full season, he'll be starting. Then I'm going to say this formation as is in possession, not how SofaScore lines it up, because everyone looks at that and is like, why are they playing this person here? And it's just figure out the formation before you text about that. But long-term, Reece James will be right center back. I see him playing right center back. I think central center back will be either Tosin, or I think it'll be Tosin playing central center back. Left center back is Colwill. Yep. I could see Colwill also playing central center back.
Yeah.
And then it's a combination. I always see Colwill getting to the team as of now. Yeah. I see Reece James always getting into the team. Yeah, I could see Fofana and Tosin swapping in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as of now, Malo Gusto is going to be playing left back, inverting to the 6.
Yeah.
We could see Cucurella doing that as well.
Yeah, he did it for Poch, right?
Or we could see Cucurella playing left center back and covering those wings where Colwill struggled against City to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love your input, but nothing I have is near 75% confidence in this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very fresh. It's still very new. I think Maresca's still finding out who's working best in this system, right? I mean, as far as I remember, it's been basically restucking into that number 6 position, right? That's been the biggest change for me across the back 3. it could be anyone. Like you could throw in Badiashile there if he's going to stay at the club. Who else is there? No, yeah, I mean even like when we mentioned Vega, right? As well, you never know if he's gonna get inserted into there. And then maybe Lavia's the other six, unless Cucurella is playing that inverted role as well. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious whether he's gonna have both fullbacks inverted, right? To have both Reese and Cucurella in there. I don't think
Yeah.
it'll happen that way, but
One will definitely play center back to keep three wide, and then Reese did play the first two inverted, and then
Yeah.
the second two he's played at right center back. Now,
Yeah,
Maresca
yeah.
did say he may start changing the formation to prepare for the first three games because Reese is out due to a red card.
Yeah.
So maybe that means maybe that's why Reese hasn't been inverting. But I think he may start the season at right center back and play maybe this season just to get a season under the belt, stay healthy.
Yeah.
Because from what I've seen, Gusto did very well in the game or two he inverted.
Mm-hmm.
It's still up in the air. Then the other six, as of now, that's been Lavia, but I want to see Enzo dropping there to play those long balls.
Yeah.
Harry Winks did it last season for Leicester, and I don't profile Harry Winks as a traditional six, so I think Enzo, they said Harry Winks was getting 80, 90 touches a game, so I'd love to see Enzo get that. But right now, he's playing Enzo at the 8.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about, playing the right-sided 8, and then I think Keenan Dewsbury Hall will take the left-sided 8.
Yeah. So, where does Caicedo fit in? I do not know.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'd be interesting, Caicedo played a little outside back for Brighton years ago. So could he be the one inverting to the 6? I don't know. It's a shout. I doubt it. But if you want to get in Caicedo, Enzo, and Lavia into the team, that's how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Now, I've been seeing also Nkunku playing that left side 8 for the most part.
Yeah.
That's where I don't understand how Dewsbury Hall is going to fit in with Nkunku there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mean, the lineup just dropped for them playing Real Madrid, and Nkunku's going to be playing that left-sided 8, and Enzo is on the right side 8, no Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah, so the game is already kicked off. I mean, I know you don't like to refer to the sofa score formation and stuff like that, but they have it down as a 4-2-3-1. Recent right back Colwell and Badiashile in the center, Gusto on left, Jorgensen in net, like we were talking about just now. Enzo and Lavio, the two center defensive midfielders. In front of them, in the middle, you've got Nkunku, Stirling to the left, Madueke to the right, and Gui up top.
Yeah, I just see this lineup as Gusto inverting and Enzo playing up next to Nkunku. Yeah. So I think Nkunku will have that spot, which will definitely take away from Dewsbury Hall. So that's why there's going to be so much rotation, I feel.
Yeah.
I wish I could give a solid answer.
Yeah.
And now we go left wing, and I'm going to say it's Sterling to start off the season.
We just conceded, by the way.
Oh, well, great. So,
you say Sterling to start the season, but that's only because Nico's coming back from an injury, right? You assume that's Nico's spot.
So, are you putting Jackson straight to left wing and
I think it's going to be fluid. It's going to interchange. On paper, maybe it's like Jackson left, Palmer right, up top. I don't know if it's the new signing or you put Nkunku up top, something like that. But I do think there will be a combination of Nkunku, Nico Jackson, Palmer, and then maybe one of like Madueke, Mudryk, Sterling.
Yeah. I think Palmer's going to have to play outside on the right because if you throw him in on the inside 8, then maybe you have Palmer and Nkunku playing the eights, which that's not going to work, and that's taking
Yeah.
away a spot from Enzo or Caicedo, which you don't want to do. So I
Yeah.
don't see Madueke getting that many starts, even though he's been one of the bright spots this
Bright sparks.
preseason.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and
So basically, we don't know.
it's so confusing
Yeah, it
that
really is.
I think it will depend on who they're playing, what the
Yeah.
formation is. As of now, I think Jackson starts up top. As
Hmm.
long as we don't start Osimhen or sign
Yeah.
Osimhen, which I
Yeah.
will see in the coming days. But if I had to, I guess my best guess right now is either Sterling or Mudryk on the left, Jackson up top, Palmer on the right, Enzo and Cuckoo at the 2/8s, then Caicedo
Yeah.
or Lavia with an invert fullback in the back four.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a gamble drafting Chelsea assets at the moment, right? But let's see what we can kind of unearth in the next segment. Is there anything else you want to kind of touch on before we move on?
I mean, I think I talked about almost every player that's getting in this squad,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Okay.
it's that's it for me for that.
All right. So let's talk about some Fantrax assets. So for you, who would be your first pick from Chelsea?
I mean, it's Palmer by
Yeah,
far. I
yeah,
just not really much of explanation.
yeah.
Which most people don't know, he played under Maresca for City's U21s
Mm,
and had, I think, 20 goal contributions in 12 or 13 games. Maresca has said Palmer will get some freedom,
yeah,
which, from what I've deduced, Maresca doesn't like giving players freedom. So if he's giving
yeah.
Palmer freedom, that means something. So I mean, I think he'll be the only name that's you can count on to start.
Yeah, so it's been a real debate. Where are you taking him in the draft? 1-1, as far as 1-5. Where does he land for you personally?
Uh, I'd say I don't have these picks, so I haven't had to delve into it too much.
Yeah,
But I would take him. I would understand people taking Holland over him.
yeah,
I don't understand. I think Saka's gonna get injured this season. But with all the question marks around Chelsea, I could see him going from 2 to 6.
yeah.
I
Last season when you said Saka, you don't think he's ready. He ended up the top scoring asset. Eh?
well, it's just it's I don't know if all the limping and
Yeah,
I would not feel great around having him as 1-1.
yeah, yeah.
So
I get what you're saying. Yeah, it just feels
if
that at some point something is going to give. Like there's
yeah,
there's only so much you can flog that guy, man.
I mean
Like,
if Potts was still here, I'd take Palmer 1-1, no
yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
There's just a
Agreed.
lot happening,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's interesting because I was trying to look into Leicester last season
Mm.
and analyze where are these goals coming from, where is it going to
Yeah.
translate to this new Chelsea team, and I saw a lot of these wingers cut back,
Yeah.
back post, like very quick
Yeah.
wingers cut back, back post, which Palmer can cut back. He's just not that quick. So I
Yeah.
can see Madueke being able to cut back, back post, but I just don't see goals coming from the outside as much as they did last season. So
Mm.
it's making me a little worried, but
Yeah.
we'll see where they come from.
Yeah.
I wish I could say I know Palmer's going to score all these goals, but I could see him also having a lot of like second assists, play that
Yeah.
ball to Enzo, cutting down
Yeah.
to the byline, and then Enzo pulling it back in.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll have over 20 goal contributions, but
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if he can perform as well as last season.
Yeah. Okay. Next 3 picks. Who have you got?
I don't like this, but I'm going to say Nkunku
Yeah.
slightly over Jackson.
Yeah.
I just don't like it, but
Yeah.
because I don't love the having a forward playing an inside 8 in
Mm-hmm.
attack, but
Yeah.
that's also kind of where that is where KDB and Foden play.
Yeah.
I think they call it tens when they play for Man City, so
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
may just be seeing Maresca call it 8 be a little worrisome.
Yeah.
So I would take him. I wouldn't go too early though. I've seen him go really like I wouldn't touch him till late third maybe,
Mm. Yeah.
and then I'd say as long as Chelsea doesn't sign Osimhen, I'd say Jackson's right around there too
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
my second pick.
Yeah.
If they do, I'm not touching Jackson sadly, but
Mm.
I just don't see this new striker Chelsea just agreed to terms with Atletico coming in and derailing Jackson. I could see him playing against a Sean Dyche Everton, where it's
Mm-hmm.
park the bus, swing some balls in, he gets some headers. But as long as there's no Osimhen, I think Jackson brushes right around 30 starts, and I'd be comfortable with him fourth round.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of my drafts I took Nkunku middle of second. I mean, for me
Wow.
though, that yeah, I know it's quite high. Because I think that was like right, like maybe a day or two after like the preseason game, and I watched it, and I don't know, I just really like the look of Nkunku. He looks sharp. He's having good pops at goal, creating chances here and there. I don't know, maybe I think it is obviously dependent on where he plays within the system. Like I feel like his ghost points might fluctuate. Like maybe some games you get like maybe one or two, but I do feel like there are
Mhm.
other games that he could probably get you like maybe 8 to 9 sort of thing. I don't think above 10. But I do think like he has an eye for goal.
Yeah.
That's easy to see, right?
His,
So that's why I don't know. For me, that was a vibes pick for me.
yeah, I mean, it's always, it, he should be fun to watch. His dribbling's
Yeah,
very solid.
yeah,
Finishing is great. He kind of has that just instinct for goal.
yeah.
It's a weird comparison, but kind of like how I saw Gundogan poach.
Mm,
Just, I think he'll get the ball in the back of the net. My only qualm with him is where is he playing? Because
yeah,
the manager's favorite player, Dewsbury Hall, is also fighting for his position. So
yeah,
I could
yeah,
see him going out to wing, but we just haven't seen him play wing in preseason. We saw him play striker, and I mean that was against City, so
yeah,
I'm not faulting him for that. But
yeah. Yeah, we'll see how everything kind of pans out. So who's your third of the three?
there is no good option for here. I would, I have to say Dewsbury Hall only because of the upside.
Yeah,
I would love to say Madueke. I'd love to say Sterling
yeah,
or Mudryk, but if Madueke was starting,
yeah,
I think he would be right up there with Nkuku and Jackson. He's
yeah,
a Fantrax animal,
yeah.
but I just don't see him getting over 15 starts.
Mm-hmm.
So Dewsbury Hall is the only one that I could see really getting knocked on. Now, if
Yeah,
you see, I just can't trust Sterling or Mudryk to hold down that spot all season. So
yeah, yeah. Same. Uh, Not to put a downer on this, but now it's 2-0. I mean, we said don't touch the Chelsea defense, right? So
yeah, I
yeah.
guess that's one thing we got right. Doesn't matter who's back there, just don't touch it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. All right. Have you got a hidden gem?
I mean, this one's out of left field, but I'll say, I mean, it's really hidden, but I'm gonna say Malo Gusto with the
Mm-hmm.
chance he plays left back and inverts.
Yeah,
That's my only reason it's hidden because no one thinks he's going to probably start right now, and there's a chance he starts
yeah,
25.
yeah,
I mean, he's great. He's
yeah,
so nice to have as a backup. He could start for a lot
Yeah.
of teams.
Yeah.
So I'll say that. I just don't know how it's going to be when Cucurella comes back, but
Hmm.
there's no other options for anyone that's very hidden.
Yeah. Fair. Um, where would you have taken Madueke, and where would you take Gusto right now?
Right now, Madueke, I wouldn't touch him ninth, eighth or
Yeah,
ninth. It's
I
just
agree.
I don't
Yeah.
think he starts.
Yeah.
I
Same.
I
Same. Same. Same.
I would take him fourth if Palmer
Yeah.
was playing in the middle, but I don't think that's
Yeah.
going to happen. So I wouldn't touch him there. And Gusto, I mean, just grab him 13th, 12th. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm saying hit him because he may start. I don't think he's going to rack in points.
Yeah.
There's not much of a potential, I feel, in this formation for hidden people to
Yeah.
really rack in the points. It's just going to be that front four. So I guess maybe you could say Enzo could
Yeah.
get better, but we'll see. I mean, Enzo, I have no problem owning seventh
Yeah.
or eighth. He'll play almost every game and probably put up a solid 7 or 8. So
Yeah. Yeah. Good, like mid four, mid five sort of
yeah,
thing,
I
I'd say.
guess you could tuck
Yeah.
in Enzo with uh not hidden gem, but could have some small value.
Okay. So then, who would be your trap?
This is something I hate to say, but one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player, I think it's Reece James.
Really? That
I
is interesting.
I think I just based off name value, he's can
Yeah.
go earlier than he should.
Yeah.
As I said, from the last two preseason games, he's been playing right center back, and you're not producing many points. He's a right center back. Obviously, he'll be
Yeah.
on sets,
Yeah.
but if he starts inverting, maybe take a look at it. His main threat is bombing down that wing.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not who, it's not profiling him as who he should be, but I'm hoping it's something that keeps him healthy.
Yeah. Very good point. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
he did get a
Yeah.
couple key passes when he inverted, but I still don't think he had the best game there. I don't think he will invert for the first
Mm.
at least 10 games of the season because they'll probably stick with whoever started the first 3 games when he comes back and just stick him at right center back.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't touch him till 7th or 8th round.
Yeah, I get that. It seems like now he's kind of moved from a high ceiling player to a steady flow player.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the injuries.
Yeah.
The formation doesn't fit him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. But the system, right?
yeah,
That's the thing. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't complain because I just want to see him stay healthy. So maybe it's for the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, I mean, he said that in an interview, right? What's his goal for the season is to stay on the
Yeah,
pitch.
I could see. I mean, the occasional cross into the box from him, getting occasional
Yeah.
assists. How I think it
Yeah.
was Asby back in the day would like be able to pick out Morata from
Yeah.
center back. So,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't depend on that. I'd stay away, and I hate saying that he's a trap because he was like probably my number one pick last year.
Yeah, he's a Chelsea darling, man. We all love him at the club.
Mhm.
All right. Now let's move on to our final segment, the advice one. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions, Patrick. Don't worry, none from your boys. No one has DM'd me a question this time. So my first question is: do you have a drafting day tradition? So do you need to wear like lucky socks, a lucky cap? I don't know.
I sadly don't because I'm no longer living in New Jersey. The last draft and this draft I just do on my computer while all my boys are doing it together. But
Ah,
this
yeah.
year they may be doing random jerseys, so everyone buys a random $20 or $30 jersey, and either they're wearing it or they're throwing it in a pot, and you get to pick it out. So I think that would be a
Okay.
fun one.
Yeah, that's nice. That's pretty nice. In terms of when you are drafting, Do you use an Excel sheet or you a vibes manager?
I do have a spreadsheet. Usually it's for right now on my spreadsheet. I just have mainly my sleepers
Mm,
and my first 2 or 3 round picks planned out. I generally know who I want from mock drafts. So when I do mock draft, I don't pick the guys who I want because I want to see where they go.
yeah,
So I have a spreadsheet. I wouldn't say it's live or die by the spreadsheet, but
yeah.
it's just good names to keep in the back of the head. And once those later rounds come around, just start picking them off because I've always having 1 or 2 sleepers pan out is great. I took Pedro Neto in the 10th round last year, so it
Yeah.
was you gotta
Fair
get
enough.
one of those
Yeah.
is just huge
Yeah,
for the
yeah, yeah.
team.
For sure. Do you have any experience with trading draft picks? Is this something you do?
Yes, I traded this year. I traded my 5'11" for an 8th, ninth, 10th, and 11th rounder.
Wow.
So I'm not loving that middle of the pack right now, where
Mm-hmm.
it's a bunch of guys like Saliba
Yeah.
or Grealish or just guys with that who are just not going to start every game.
Yeah.
And I kind of figured I've always been a smaller team. I've always just drafted players from smaller teams who I think can ghost. So
Yeah.
I think you kind of got to realize where the good rounds are. One thing I haven't done, but people in my league have done this year, we've kind of set around the top 16 that we
Mm-hmm.
know are 16 players that can all be 4-1s, D1s, or mid-1s. And
Yeah.
then after that, there's kind of a hop drop off.
Yeah.
So you want to get in those positions. And another you could debate the first 4 picks are the same. So what's the difference in
Mm-hmm.
1 through 4?
Yeah.
So I would say just have your guys that you know you want
Mm-hmm.
and trade back for them if you could. Don't trade up because people can if you're trading up heavily that can burn you, but if you can trade back, I would do that.
Okay. In terms of waiver claims, FA claims, do you have a strategy? Do you like look at form, fixtures, bit of both?
For me, defenders is fixtures, but it's mainly just form. You kind of just want to pounce on that first 10-point performance. As I said,
Yeah. Yeah.
besides Palmer, but I picked up Ross Barkley for 0 fab last season,
Yeah.
and then I got Gustavo Hammer mid-season for 2. And
Okay.
you just gotta get the guys where they hit dips.
Uh
In
huh.
those cases,
Yeah.
both of them had some share set pieces, and what I learned, it was my first season using Fab. I ended the season with, I spent my last 80 Fab in the last 2 weeks, and I was in the
Yeah.
finals.
Yeah.
So that has taught me if you have a solid team after draft night, spend all your Fab right away. If you don't think you have a solid team after draft night, which no one looks at their team after draft night and realizes it's not good, but that's when you're going to need to spend 5, 10 places. And that's one thing I'm going to try to do a little more often this year is just sprinkle 5 fab on a guy I want for permanently and then
Yeah.
just grab those guys when they get and dropped and they shouldn't have gotten dropped.
Okay. Good. I guess I'm not, I don't have to ask you about Fab. You touched on that perfectly as well. Do you have any memorable trades from last season? Any best worst moments?
I did not trade last season once because I'll go through it. I took Salah first round, Solid
Yeah.
March second, which sadly got injured. But
Yeah.
then I went Morgan Gibbs White, Jackson, and I got Elise fifth. So
What?
I had those guys,
Yeah.
and then I got Jota after that, and I
Yeah.
had Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto on top of that.
Oh my
So
god,
I
that is
wasn't touching
disgusting.
waivers because I didn't have guys I wanted to drop. I mean,
Yeah,
I sadly lost in our final and playoffs, but
yeah,
that was one of my best teams I've ever had. And a couple injuries at the end of the season hurt.
yeah,
But I mean, trading is just buy low, sell high.
yeah,
You've been talking about it with yours. Oh, if one name stands out, how you
yeah,
said, if Morgan Rogers gets 3 starts,
yeah,
sell him. And
yeah,
I think stuff like that is smart. You want to prey on the people who are very reactionary. And
yeah,
the one thing I struggle is when I find the guy that first 4 starts are great.
yeah,
I think I found the guy, not he has a good couple games. So
yeah.
just be able to don't have emotional bonds with your player, which usually everyone does.
Yeah.
So
I mean, being a Chelsea fan, it's easy to not have emotional bonds to any player, manager, anything, right? So we're
yeah,
trained in that fashion. But I mean, you're mentioning about like buying low, selling high. With Chelsea, I mean, we don't have the easiest start to our season, but are there any assets you think managers could be eyeing up? Like, okay, this is an asset we can buy low, or this is an asset we can sell high on?
I think the left winger is someone you could buy low if you when you figure out who the starting left winger is. I mean, they could be on waivers. I don't think they
Yeah.
will be because of name value of Sterling and Mudryk,
Mm.
but I think left wing could be just because that spot's open. It's a starting
Yeah.
spot. I think if for some reason Madueke gets a start or two and Palmer doesn't start the season because of the Euros,
Yeah.
sell him. I think you
Yeah.
should sell him. And
Yeah.
then if you see Reese end up inverting, and he does well, you could buy low. But I'm not convinced if Reece James does invert, he will be a Fantrax, be good for Fantrax. But I'd say those are my uh, and maybe if Nkunku gets a slow start, you could get a buy low because that could be a reactionary manager saying, "I don't want a piece of Chelsea." So
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, sell high. Who did you have?
uh, I'm a Dweke.
Right. Okay. Cool. So I guess that brings us to our final question. So being an experienced manager like yourself, having played Toga, now you're in Fantrax, years and years of experience. What are some lessons learned from last couple of seasons that you're taking forward into next season that you think would help you become a more successful manager that you'd like to share with other managers out there?
I'd say I kind of touched on it all, but new leagues. I've said this before in previous year. New leagues are won on waivers. You
Yeah.
pick up guys. I mean, leagues are also won game week 1 on waivers.
Mm.
So don't be scared to spend your fab
Mm-hmm.
because it just you've talked about it in other episodes. The longer you hold on to it, the less value it has. There's
Yeah.
less people learn
Yeah.
even, and I would just spend big quick is one thing I want to try this year. Trade on highs. Don't Another thing that I just said is don't become too attached to your players.
Yeah.
And I mean, just be ready for lineups.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
especially for Americans. I set the alarm for 6:38, 6:29 a.m. Wake up, look at my phone, pick up a guy, go
Yeah.
back to bed. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really glad I live in the UK. It's much
yeah,
easier.
So I'd say if you don't have it, get SofaScore, but don't go
Yeah.
by their exact. Because I have SofaScore pull up, and sometimes I'll have Twitter pull up. But
Yeah.
we all used to use the app Forza, and it was probably 30 seconds behind SofaScore. So this one guy,
Yeah.
4 weeks in a row, beat us to all waivers.
Yeah.
So you want the app that's putting out the lineups as fast as possible.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Positive note, we've scored. Madueke.
I'm I love him. I think he's the
Yeah.
only guy that fits into Maresca's winger profile.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
could go off the fact that Palmer's going to play that inside mid,
Yeah.
and I think that could push Nkuku out to left wing.
Mm.
But I
Time
think
will tell.
that's
Time.
he could be a buy low, but
Yeah. I mean, especially if he doesn't get the start versus City. I do think he will get the start versus City. It's just because everyone else isn't back yet, right?
yeah. Also,
So he could be a sell high potentially as well.
I mean, it could be a good handcuff with Nkuku to have Madueke.
Yeah.
That's as much as you think that sounds weird, but I guess you could also throw in Madueke, then grab Enzo a couple of rounds later if you really want. He has one of the most upsides in the team.
Yeah.
He's perfect for Trax, but I'm just not sold on it.
Yeah. Enzo got the assist as well, so.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to looking at that goal. And
yeah. So, I mean, that's all we had planned for the pod. So we'll wrap things up so we can go watch the second half of our team play as well. But before we sign off, Patrick, do you have any final words you want to
add? Nothing. I mean, good luck with the drafts. I draft Saturday in my league. Appreciate you having me on as always, and hopefully we can see top 4 this season. I'm not setting any expectations, but we'll see.
Definitely. Yeah, it's always a pleasure chatting Chelsea with you, Patrick.
Yep.
Thanks again for your time and your insights. So, listeners, that's another Inside Trax series pod in the bag. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.